for Wake Up. Beautiful. All right. Are we rolling, Keo? Yeah, I think I see the red dot. They're beautiful. Hey, welcome everybody. Wake Up Wednesday for the 26th of March. It is so great to be back here with you guys, back in the saddle. Thank you, Keo and crew, for covering for me last week. It's a crazy big week. I'll touch on that just a few minutes here. But I just wanted to personally thank you guys for not only covering for me last week, but the last 3 months. In my absence, you guys kept the lights on, kept my chair warm, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. To feel the love and support, the camaraderie, the energy from you guys as a group was truly, truly a gift from God. And I want you to know I don't take that for granted, the least. And that said, it reaffirms to me the reason, the purpose, the raison d'etre of this Wake Up group to begin with. And I'll start by saying, it started off as a group, the CT 101 group, a beta group, to test this relatively clinical, sort of sterile, sort of mechanical manifestation process called writing meta stories. Started off as that, as a bit of an experiment, and that kind of ran its course and whatnot. But this is way more than that. Wake Up is way more than that. This group is way more than that, and that's why I decided to rename this the Wake Up family. Because at the end of the day, your true family, even though you can't. The difference between friends and family is that you can't choose your family. Well, the friends that you really, really choose, well, they are your family. And the vision here for Wake Up is to create a family, in a family environment of honesty, authenticity, and support. Whereas we co-create and also travel on our individual paths, facing whatever it is that life brings us, that we have not only a group of support, but we have an extended family that can be there with us. None of us has gotten to where we are by ourselves. None of us will ultimately achieve the life of our goals and dreams and have the maximum impact that God has called us to have in this lifetime by ourselves. It's just not going to happen. So I have a handful of just really quick updates that I want to go through with you guys. But before I do that, I want to bring out Christoph here. Because he's on a tight timeline. He has a very, very important date that he's missing out on right now to be with us with his TV. His favorite hockey team, Game 7, is on right now. He's missing that. But I asked Keo if you would, Christoph, if you would come out and just have a brief, short conversation here with us about some of the work that him and I have been doing behind the scenes over the last few months. So to kind of frame it, I posted this on social media, on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook earlier today, but I'll just kind of recap it here super quick for you guys. You know that I've been through the last year and a half. It's just been an incredibly difficult and challenging time in my life. By far the most difficult and challenging time in my life. Not for any one particular reason, but for all of the reasons. Not financially. I'm fortunate and grateful and blessed that I've been very successful as an entrepreneur. I've made a lot of money. I've made some really good investments. I'm able to have my financial stability and security and all of that. It's not about financial safety. It's not even, and it's not about physical safety. It wasn't about any one particular issue other than this existential threat that I was facing, which was a true identity crisis. Who the F am I? Here I am over the last 18 months, finding myself after a long-term relationship. All of a sudden, I'm single. I'm living out of duffel bags. I'm a bit of a transient. I'm homeless, so to speak, heartbroken, and have nothing to live for. I mean, I've got my kids, 2 kids, they're already quite grown. Neither of them live with me. they're set, they're well taken care of. And I just really struggled in the last year and a half to find anything worth living for, anything to excite me. And last summer, after I had gone through just a horrible depression for the first part of last year, came back, and my physical health had deteriorated, my spiritual health, my mental health. I went through a really dark 5-month suicidal depression, came through that, guns blazing and strong. But God wasn't done with me yet. That's all I can say. There was a deeper or an additional level of purification that had to take place. I thought my ego had died. It hadn't. I'm happy to say, as I stand here before you guys today, or sit here, is my ego is, well, look, we all still have egos, don't get me wrong. But the old identity, the old Jay, is now firmly dead and in the grave. Gone. Never more to reappear. I've been in the last few months working, doing the deep, dark inner work, the final layers that were preventing me from having an open heart, the final layers that were preventing me from truly loving myself and forgiving myself, shedding the final remnants of shame, guilt, regret, unworthiness, insecurities, all of these trapped emotions that were a lot of my own, but in a lot of cases inherited, passed down generational traumas that I was also dealing with. So long story short, this past week has just been an incredible week for me. I would say probably one of the best weeks of my life. I've moved over a dozen times in the last 25 years. I add up my businesses and personal residences. And moving is always a stressful thing because it's a bit of a shedding. It's like a snake that leaves its skin behind. It's a shedding, a leaving behind of the old. And the last big move that I had was 6 years ago when we moved from New Jersey. We packed up our huge house in New Jersey to move into this relatively small, like less than half the size of a townhouse in Toronto. And just the paring down and just sorting and getting rid of stuff and making that move 1,000 miles in a different country was huge undertaking. But 6 years ago when I moved from New Jersey to Toronto, I'd also moved because my brother was going through a horrific midlife crisis. He had landed in jail. My brother Rob was part of the group. He'd completely blown through he was retired, financially independent, and his life had just completely disintegrated. And I moved up here in part to take care of him, but also to follow through on a promise that I made to my mother to get my own health back together. And I had no idea that 6-year journey, which I'm not going to talk about that 6-year journey right now. I'm sharing it quite openly on social media, but that 6-year journey was going to be the most difficult journey of my life. Well, fast forward to this past week. The last 18 months, all of my stuff has been in a storage locker, my entire life. After Steph broke up with me while I was away, she moved all of my stuff into a storage locker, bless her heart. And my entire life, all the Wake Up merch, my daughter's bedroom, my son's bedroom, all of our, for everything into a massive storage locker, and just moved on with her life. And in the last year and a half, I've found it incredibly difficult to pick up where I left off. How do I even begin? How do I even begin to sort through all of our furniture, all of our possessions, everything that's just trapped like emotion, like a big constipated ball of energy in this storage locker? And it was the single greatest stressor in my life, was having this emotional, mental, spiritual block of having all of my stuff in a storage locker. Well, that dragon has finally been slayed, but I wouldn't have been able to slay that dragon if it wasn't for Christoph. Moving through the emotion that was trapped, the energy that was trapped, that was holding me back in every area of my life, symbolically, in that storage locker, it represented my life and the emotional block, the spiritual block that I had. So starting late last year, Christoph and I, we did our first emotion code session. And I don't think we actually picked any particular topic on the very first session. We focused mainly around heartbreak and healing my heartbreak. And then we did 3 sessions focused on my heart, a heart wall. And I'll let Christoph talk about this a little bit. So what are the blockers? What are the emotions that are trapped, that are keeping my heart closed? Because if I can't have an open heart, I can't operate. At this stage in my life, after building multiple $10 million businesses and doing everything and accomplishing every material goal, there's nothing that interested me. There's nothing that excited me. And even Wake Up, every time I even thought about building Wake Up, my heart would break, because it was something that I had been building for 10 years alongside with Steph. And we had been giving it the last 2 years our full-time attention. And then when she just completely left, it just felt like hopeless. So there was a lot of trapped emotions around that. So long story short, after those first 4 sessions, my heart had healed, and we had been able to, and this is the crazy thing about it, is that I expected this would take 10 years to truly heal, to be able to move through some of these emotions. But with the help of the emotion code and the magical work that Christoph does, I was able to last week on Tuesday, my son and I and 3 hired hands, we went to Toronto. We loaded up a 26-foot truck. It took us all day to load it. We drove it down here, about 3 hours away. It's picked in where I live now. We sorted everything off of the truck into 4 buckets. My possessions, what I need, my office. I finally have an office set up for the first time in 2 years. My desk is back, my TV, my monitors, all of that. The stuff that I wanted in storage in my basement, stuff that needs to be sold and donated. And then the Wake Up store, the Wake Up merch is nicely sorted and organized in a nice little storage locker. In 1 week, with joy in my heart, with a spring in my step, I was able to move through that move, no pun intended. And with a smile on my face, every box, open it, sort through it, and there wasn't a moment of anxiety, there wasn't a moment of stress. And it has been such a joy and a privilege. And the only thing I can chalk this incredible shift to is the work that we did with the emotion code. So Christoph, I would love to bring you out here, my friend. And just for a moment, well, everybody knows who you are, obviously, but how did you come up? Introduce yourself a little bit. How did you find this emotion code thing? I mean, it's based on, and for those who don't know what emotion code is by Bradley Nelson, I actually recorded our last session, which was yesterday. We did a session yesterday, removing the trapped emotions that are preventing me from building the Wake Up code. I recorded it, turned it into a little documentary that I'm going to share with you guys if you'd like. But Christoph, how did you find this Bradley Nelson guy? Because at the retreat in Costa Rica, when you told me that you do this, had I known the effects of it were going to be that immediate, like, first of all, it sounds too good to be true. I would have done this work way a long time ago. I wouldn't have waited as long. How did you find this?
Okay. Hey guys. First of all, hello. Hi, Wake Up family. Nice to see you all. Yeah, what I found that, I think it was 2023 for sure as well, because I was pretty down. I had a really hard time in the family business because I think some of the group, they know I was speaking once about the family business. So it was a really tough time, and it took lots of energy. And in that time, I was like, yeah, I can't fail. I mean, if I fail now, yeah, we're gonna lose everything. So I was looking for something quick. For sure, I was I don't know exactly, but I always was praying for sure. And then I saw I think it was in an email, and then I saw there is a retreat in Basel, close from, it's a city in Switzerland, Basel. That is a retreat, another retreat, like how do you say?
A workshop.
A workshop. Yeah, it's actually just one day from Bradley Nelson. And then, yeah, as soon I saw him speaking, or even when I saw his name, I already was like, oh, that's the same name than my son. My son is Bradley. And then as soon he was talking about that emotion code, I was like, oh my God, that's it. I need that. Huh? And then I booked that day. I went there, and it was already a blessing, because everybody was so happy in the room to see that. But as soon they start to try a session or to ask, that's kind of, you have to ask the subconscious. And I already got like yes or no. I found out already in that day, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And yeah, since that day, I was like, oh my God, what can I imagine with that work? It's crazy what I can do for myself, for my family, for all others. That's amazing, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And then, yeah, I went back home, and then I did the course online. So it's actually, yeah, it's an online course. I have like 10 models, models. Yeah, and yeah, and then after a while, I was finished with that course, and I worked most with friends, with open or good close friends, families, my wife, my kids, and me. Yeah, I cleared a lot of trapped emotion on me. Yeah, and then I was like happy to. And then I was like, oh, let's go now. I want to help everyone, but I didn't found the time, so I was back in the garage, so busy. And I had to find some new workers again, and then that was like based on all the knowledge from the emotion code. I tried to work or like look for other people in like a in how do you say abundance, exactly, sorry. So that was so important, because 4 years ago, when I was looking for workers and everything, I found workers, but I wasn't about in a good state. So it was more of a need, and after 2 years they left again. So it was not, yeah, it was not good. So this time I tried to make sure that I'm yeah, before, like, abundance or thankfulness that I gonna have that new employees. And yeah, then they last year, I think March, yeah, finally we got a really good girl in the office. And right now my brother is better, or is much better. He's actually pretty good. And now it really allows me to step back a bit from the family business. And I have planned now Tuesday and Wednesday morning for 2 sessions. And that fulfills my heart so much to be able to do that, to find place or to find space. And yeah, I'm also so happy that I could help Jason with that work. And it's cool to work with people who are open for stuff like that, with energy. But yeah, it's energy healing, but just in guidance with God. So that's what I love.
It is, and I don't say this lightly. This isn't a sales pitch, because there's nothing to sell here. I'm just genuinely, like, holy F, blown away. It is the single most powerful modality by a factor of 100 that I've ever come across. Keel, if you don't mind, put up on the screen share the grid. And then Christoph, if you could give us a little demonstration of how this works. So let me frame this for you guys. Here's how freaking cool this is. So you guys already know about the maps of consciousness, David Hawkins, right? From 0 to 1,000. So it's based off of the kinesiology methodology that David Hawkins pioneered years ago, which I used to do with my mom when I was a tiny little kid. My mom had such bad food allergies, and she was accused of witchcraft, because this is woo-woo to the religion that we grew up in. But her food allergies were so bad, she had to go on an elimination diet, and she was living off of oatmeal. And she would get these horrible reactions to just the most random things. And the way she rebuilt her diet, she would take, let's say, raspberries, chew them up, put them under her tongue, and she would say, Jason, come here. I'm just a little kid. I'm like 6 years old. I just remember my mom with her arm out, and sometimes her arm would just drop. Sometimes she would be strong. Then she would take her pinky finger like this and curl it and have me pull on it. And sometimes it would be weak. Sometimes it would be strong. I had no idea what she was doing. But when it was strong, she would say, okay, I can eat this. And then she would chew it, swallow it, and eat it. And it would add that to her diet. And that's how she systematically built back her diet. So that was my first introduction to this. Fast forward to a year ago, and Steph gave me this book, Maps of Consciousness, David Hawkins. You guys know I even did some Wake Up Wednesday workshops on it. I was like blown away. This is incredible. Fast forward a little bit further, coming through this last depression that I just came through and really, really reconnecting with God. Now that my nervous system and brain is healed, my intuition has come back, and in a spiritual sense, I've reconnected with my Creator. It's just been an incredibly, it's just been an incredible time of spiritual transformation. I mean, you guys know last summer I was talking about the different areas of health: financial health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. Like they say, what you're teaching is what you're also trying to learn. Well, somebody said to me, kind of, I think it was you, Christoph, that, well, in Maps of Consciousness, 1,000 is mapped to Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, pure consciousness. And I was like, I'm trying with CT, cybernetic transposition, Stuart Liffman, trying to mechanically force a manifestation process onto the universe to create the results I want. I'm like, whoa, I got this all completely wrong. Co-creating with the universe is a spiritual endeavor. So I completely recreated the meta-story process. And I shared a video with you guys. I recorded an intro for version 4 of the playbook. We'll get into that now. But that's when I reached back out to Christoph. I'm like, dude, we have to start doing this work. So we've done 4 more sessions since then. And it's super quick. Like, these sessions are really, really quick. This last one was 45 minutes or so. I mean, the video where we go through and clear 9 trapped emotions is 25 minutes. It's that quick. And it's permanent. Now, if you're a therapist, psychotherapist, a traditional healer, somebody who makes a lot of money off of helping people heal, this is kind of like, this is not going to be good for your business. This is not going to be good for your freaking business. I'm just telling you right now.
Also not good for the
It's as close to taking a pill as you can get, and I do not say that lightly. So, Keel, if you could put up on the screen, there's like a grid. So, Christoph, just give us a really quick demonstration how this goes, because I'm so excited about it. And you know, I believed in it so much. I was telling my son about it. So, you know, Milo is my little doppelganger. He's my little mentee. So Milo had his first session with Christoph on Tuesday. Blew him out of the water. He's already got his second session booked as well. But to start, we both get present and grounded. Christoph, I'll just kind of frame it like this. And then he sets the intention to connect to my unconscious, because the quantum is no time or space. We can do it virtually. And then he does a little, the muscle test is index finger and thumb. So if it's strong, it's a connection. If it's weak, there's no connection. So he connects to my unconscious, I connect to his. And then he goes through a grid. Well, we set a topic we're framing for the session. yesterday's session, which I'm really excited to share the recording with you guys, was about clearing any remaining blockers that I have around building the Wake Up Co. Because I feel like spiritually I'm now ready to do it. But I said to Christoph, what blockers in my unconscious are there still out there preventing me from building the Wake Up Co? So that's the session that we did yesterday. And like I said, I'll share that recording with you. But Christoph, so you pick it up from here. So we connect, and then how does it work? How do you connect to my unconscious? What does this process look like?
Yeah. So it was also for me first time when I was thinking about crazy, but then I was like, yeah, I mean, I felt guided, so I went there and I believed, and I really was not in my head, and that's the most important in that work. So if we try to understand the process, it's hard. I mean, or actually, it's gonna, yeah, it's not good for having good results. So that's really something you have to do. You have to believe, and it's not me who do it. That's the most important. It's God. So I'm just a tool. I'm the tool to do it, and in the end, it's your subconscious who give me the answers, and I'm asking for trapped emotions. And Bradley Nelson, he created exactly this one. You see there the map. So you have like column A and B, and then third row, the 6 rows. And then I ask, for example, first I connect with Jay, and as soon I have the connection, I ask his subconscious, do you have a trapped emotion? So you can do you can ask for general trapped emotions. That's possible. So then the subconscious give you actually the trapped emotion that really have to get away. And so it's actually pretty cool. But if you have a topic, for example, broken relationship or the business, you struggle to having good conversation with your parents, some stuff like that, you can ask specifically, are there trapped emotions around that topic? And then I get a yes, and then I ask if it's in column A, no, and then it's in column B, yes. So we already know it have to be there in B, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6, and as soon I have like row 3, and then I ask, is it confusion? Definitely. And then I go through the process, and as soon I have the trapped emotion, it's strong. And there is just, yeah, it's always in the sessions, it's cool because like Jay, he was already, I know why, come on, it's crazy. So it's already like most of the time you know why that came up. So, and then sometimes, then I continue to ask, do I have to know more about that trapped emotion? And then if I get a no, I can release it. And that's really a fun part, actually. The releasing of the trapped emotion is actually just 3 times. We make like this, or you can take a magnet. It works actually both. And while I'm doing that, I have my how you say, I'm thinking about that trapped emotion of Jay, and yeah, I wish him light on that one, and I'm sending him love or to release, and that works always. Yeah, and then after the process, you ask if it's the trapped emotion still there, or is it released, and then you get a strong. Then you know you can continue. And then sometimes you have to know more about the trapped emotion. Then you have to ask the age, if it's the age, or do you got the trapped emotion from someone else, or is it a special events you have to know something, or is it somewhere blocked in your body? So that's the 4 kind of things I have to know. And with Jay, it was many times it was events. So I asked Jay, do you know something, or it's coming up? It's something coming up. And then he's like silent. And then, his intuition or his subconscious is telling him the most of the time. Yeah, it was almost always right. So then then he talks about the event, and I ask again, is it that event? And if it's a yes, okay, then we know it. So yeah, then we continue. You have to know more, and as soon as I have a no, I again can release the trapped emotions like that. And that's actually, I know it sounds pretty weird, but if my intention is to clear out that trapped emotion and sending him love, it just works. And and that's fun. Yeah.
So the crazy thing is how intuitive and reliable and certain the process is. So when Christoph goes through, I'll hold it up to my screen. So this was my list of 9 from yesterday. The first thing he asked me, so first of all, we connected our unconscious, and then he said, well, what do you want to work on? I said, I want to work on releasing emotions, trapped emotions around preventing me from fully committing to pursuing my purpose with the wake up call. The first trapped emotion that came up was resentment. And immediately I knew where in my life there is resentment that is trapped that needed to be cleared. And specifically a specific event as well. And whether we take the time to actually talk about that event or not, it actually doesn't even matter. Christoph says, okay, if you know what it is, and then he takes his magnet, swipes his head 3 times, checks, and it's gone. One was ve'erbt, which means inherited. And this is now where it gets really, really interesting. If you guys have read the book, It's Not Your Fault, I read it about 2 years ago. It's Not Your Fault, a book about generational trauma and how trauma is passed from both mothers and parents, mother and father's side, through our DNA. So trapped emotions that are not our own, we can also clear. So the second one was ve'erbt, or inherited, was humiliation. And that he was able to, through the process of elimination, identify to be my father's great grandmother. And it's not the first time there was an emotion that came up, a trapped emotion that came up from my father's great grandmother. How crazy is that? Unworthiness also was in a previous session that came from my father's great grandmother. Number 3 was depression in my belly, gone, wiped it. Number 4 was being taken for granted. And immediately I knew the specific instances where I really felt taken for granted and was still holding on to remnants of that trauma. We released that. Number 5 was overwhelmed. There was instantaneously, I knew what that was. We cleared that. Number 6 was unworthiness. No explanation was required on that one. It's just a general trapped emotion of just lack of self-worth or unworthiness that I had. Number 7 was hopelessness. Now this one was interesting because there was no explanation from this, but I instantaneously knew from being 3 years old where this hopelessness trapped emotion was coming from. So we cleared that. Number 8 was also inherited from my grandmother on my father's side, so my dad's mom. And I was 3 years old when there was a huge split in this religious commune where I grew up. So Christoph tested it. Well, actually, he said, I think it has something to do with the church. So we tested it, and sure enough, the betrayal that she felt, because that particular event, it ended up killing my grandfather from stress. He died of a heart attack as a result of that. And then the 9th one was kind of funny. He said, There's something coming up in your belly. Do you feel something in your belly? And I was like, we had that depression one from earlier. I don't feel anything in my belly. I feel like maybe I need to take a poop. So he checked it and he's like, oh, there's no emotion there. It must be that. We're done for the day. And that was it. So 20 minutes, we went through these 9 trapped emotions, cleared them. And in 24 hours, so I woke up this morning. So every day I've been waking up until Tuesday, almost every day, 5 days a week for months. I wake up with crazy anxiety and nightmares about random things. Since not this Tuesday, so the session we did last Tuesday, so 8 days ago, since that, the session from 8 days ago, Christoph, I don't think I told you this. I've woken up with peace in my heart every single morning, the last 8 mornings.
Yeah, because the hard wall was in the 3rd session. Your hard wall was gone. So what we did is we as human beings have like 200 or 300 trapped emotions. Depends how our life is, how our life was, or yeah. So yeah, there are a lot, but the most important is the heart. And for me, that was always so just to think about, if you don't have a hard wall, yeah, your decision's gonna be different, and probably it's gonna take you so much time. And yeah, when I think back now, and I think we all have that, we all study personal development and we read like many things, and for a while this is perfect, Joe Dispenza is perfect, and then Brett Brandon is perfect. We always then we start to look for new things, and in the end it comes it comes all together, you know. And but this method from Bradley Nelson, it's just so quick, because I love to do the meditation from Joe Dispenza, and I had amazing time to do that. But I mean, it takes pretty effort. It takes like meditate like for a long time every day in the morning, 1 hour or whatever. And if we are with kids or with the job, with relationship, we have so much to do actually every day. And with that emotion code, I felt so comfortable, because as soon I felt bad or whatever, I felt bad or not good, I just quickly went to my room, I asked my subconscious, and then I cleared it out. Okay, let's continue. And that was pretty fun. And 3 years ago, our son Noe born, and he had like I think nightmares. Sometimes he cried like crazy as a baby, and always I asked for trapped emotion and I cleared them. And he already had from inherited. And then if you think about that, a little baby, well, he don't can talk, he don't can do anything. So me as a father, I felt so grateful to have that or to have that opportunity, and to help my child. Because if kids cry, it's hard. Sometimes you don't have any idea. Yeah, you can trust your gut, but it's always hard. So with that, it was nice. It was pretty good. So for me, I love to focus first on the heart, to release that heart wall, and then continue from there. Yeah. And
Well,
now I'm really excited for you to build the Wake Up, because since actually I know from Wake Up from you, I know you are special, Jay. You're in somehow crazy dude, but you have so much value, and I want to come quickly. You said in the beginning you was not with God, but God was with you.
Yeah.
So long time ago, you did so great content, and you helped me out as well in decisions I did for the family business. So that was amazing help also from you, and I know you are guided, and
Yeah.
you just had some shit.
It feels the only way I can describe it is when I was a kid up until a teenager and would go to confession. That feeling of lightness and wholeness and newness and relief from having a clean, clear conscience. That feeling, it's like my conscience has been purified more and more and more through each of these sessions, where I feel like my heart, my intentions are so pure. Like I have no fears, I have no anxieties. Like the old Jay, the old past, it's gone. And this beautifully dovetails into my spirituality. You know, I grew up, my mother, she would always pray, and she would always end her prayers with "in the name of Jesus." Well, after working with Krista and starting to do meta stories, I could no longer do meta stories in the old way anymore. And I thought to myself, why am I not including God in what I'm trying to create here? So I did the survey in the WhatsApp group. You guys remember? Do you believe in God? And 100% of respondents said they were spiritual. Only 2 people said they were spiritual but don't believe in God, which is kind of an oxymoron, because it's kind of like saying I believe in cold weather but I don't believe in snow. But irrelevant. What I did, guys, I went back to my meta story and I reworked them as a prayer. And I, instead of the insurance line, please, thank you for making this happen in ways that are in the highest interest of everyone involved, myself and everyone else involved, I said, thank you, dear Lord, thank you for allowing this to happen in accordance to your will for my life. Glory to thee, O Lord. Physiologically, I was connected to that meta story more than I had ever been able to connect by putting myself into this artificial state of gratitude in order to be more effective manifesting. By connecting with it as a spiritual practice, as a prayer, I was instantaneously connected to it. And then it came into my mind, what if I closed it with "in the name of Jesus," because that's what I grew up with. And I had such resistance to writing those words because I was an atheist or agnostic for 20 years. I don't believe in Jesus. But I did it anyway. And I had a physiological response in my body. And then I'm like, well, of course I do. Jesus, that dude calculates at 1,000. Here I am trying to put myself into a state of gratitude, which is only 600. Dude, in the name of Jesus, and if you actually believe it, and it rekindled my faith like that. And it has completely transformed my metastory practice. And I'm not going to get into that today. In due time, I'll start to share what I'm finding and what I'm doing. But not only was I able to, so in my meta story from a month or 2 ago, I had in there that I would have my storage locker cleaned out, sold, and sorted by the 30th of June. It's not even the 30th of March. And it was such an enjoyable process. I would have paid money to do it. It was such an enjoyable process. So this is way beyond what I asked for. Another thing in my meta story from over the last 4 months was I have a house in Kansas. It's the very first house that I bought. Milo was born in that house. And very difficult situation with that house. The guy that's been living there for 17 years has become an alcoholic. It's gone into complete disrepair, and he stopped paying rent 18 months ago. And it was a huge burden on me. Well, not only has that situation completely resolved itself, and again, I set the date for that for 30th of June. That house is going on the market first week of April. It's complete. That whole situation has completely sorted itself 3 months ahead of schedule. So suddenly, what I'm working on with my meta stories, everything is being fast tracked. And I'm not going to go off topic and share any more about that now. I just want to show you something here. You probably remember, guys, I mentioned this thing called laser lines that I alluded to that I was teaching. Well, I found that the combination of setting a prayer with an intention and writing out a full-length meta story as a prayer, and then extracting the outcomes as laser lines, 100 times more effective than the traditional CT 101 process. It is scary how powerful this is, how powerful I speak for myself. It's scary in a good way, how powerful I'm finding this. And all I can say is the next year is going to be the most incredible year of my life. And I'm just so grateful, Christoph, because I would not have had this spiritual breakthrough were it not for us going in, clearing that heart wall, healing that heartbreak, and then also releasing those trapped emotions that were generational and hereditary. Because the deep, dark ones of shame and unworthiness and humiliation, those really low vibration ones that kept pulling me into depression, those have now been cleared. And I can feel it physiologically. I am a different person. My energy is completely shifted. My sleep is completely shifted. So beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Christoph, for that. And I would just say that if any of you guys are interested in this, contact Christoph. The gift, it's a skill, but it's a gift that he has as well.
That's a great story. Wow. Transformative. Was that the correct book that I shared? It seemed like the guy, the author. Have you read the book?
Christoph, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
You're mute.
Yes. I read the book. So yes, that one, that's the emotion code. But there's another thing, body code. That's included with the app. And last year, like in the middle of the certification, I had to break, or I had to stop because I actually had not enough clients to work with, and I didn't have time to finish it. So it was so hard to me to stop that process, but it was also necessary because, yeah, I was so busy with family, with the garage, with the family business. So it was a good decision. And then I went back to focus on the emotion code, and I said, like, come on, Drew, just focus on the emotion code now and easy going. If it's God's will, I'm gonna have a chance to do it. Otherwise, it's not a good thing. I was like this. And now finally, yeah, I have some free space, and that's a dream.
I mean, it's worth, you kind of alluded to it, but I'm really proud of you as well in the last year and a half, how you've shifted your reality by accepting, and this is where actually where we're going to segue the call to here now, which is our purpose. And what is God's purpose? What is God's will for our lives? And a year and a half ago, after the retreat in Costa Rica, Christoph, we had those calls, and you were really stressed, struggling because you had the family business, but you also have this emotion code thing that you wanted to do. And it's just beautiful to see how that is all naturally and organically unfolded in such a beautiful way, where you've accepted that cross or that responsibility, the karma that comes with that family business, and how that has resolved itself, the partnership, siblings, all of that drama and that upset and that turmoil. And also you've been able to create now where you have some time every week to do this as well, your gift. It's just beautiful to watch you blossom as a human being as well.
But
I'm really happy for you.
Thanks. But I mean, that's also why I was such a content junkie of your content, because that's exactly, it was so hard that 1.5 years, but it was, the diamonds are built in the darkest, or in the, yeah, out of the comfort zone. So yeah, I also thought, like, there is an easy way, let's go the easy way. But yeah, I mean, I think the easy way is in the end not the, it's not a good way. But as soon you see a opportunity, or if you have like the go from above, then it's easy, because then you're in the flow. And I think we just have to be, we have to always ground ourselves and trust in the process, and just take your time. For sure, sometimes we have to move the ass and give us a punch.
Yeah.
But in the end, if we go without, if we go without a yes or a go from above, I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Can I
Like
ask a question, please?
Yes.
Please.
Christoph, can you put in the group where you trained? You mentioned it was an online course.
Yes.
Can you put that link in the group, please, on the Wake Up Wednesday group?
Yeah, sure.
Because I've just checked and I'm not sure if that's the right course. So I want to make sure it's the right one.
Okay. Yes, I will do it.
So Christoph, you're a practitioner now,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Is this a part-time gig, or you going to make it full-time? Or I know you're
No,
in family
at the
business.
moment, no chance, because I'm taking over the family business with my brother in next month, April. My dad is 73, and we gonna be on power, so he gonna give us all the rights. So yeah, I want to make sure, because that's like the foundation, the foundation of our family business.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to be sure that everything is working good, and I'm sure I'm gonna have the opportunity to do more. So, but at the moment, I have 1.5 day to do sessions. Yeah. And if, yeah, I mean, I have no idea if I'm gonna have people or whatever. I have no idea. So I'm
Well, you're
really,
gonna have people now, because I'm telling everybody, dude. You're gonna have people now.
yeah. No, but I mean, for me, it's, I try to take it like step by step. And yeah, for sure, in a I don't know, in a year or in 2 years, if I have the business perfect, how do you say, like prepared?
Stuff. Everything
Yeah.
will work out perfectly as it is supposed to.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Because what was required was for you not to run away from the karmic debt of the family business. And that's
Yeah,
what we're going to talk about here next. Because sometimes we're called to do things we don't want to do.
Yes.
And by you stepping into that, you are fulfilling a generational obligation to your father and to your son. Yeah. And in that, now you've now pierced through that to the point where you already have created a day and a half out of each week where you can commit to this next purpose, which is eventually will be your full-time purpose. But we can see it unfolding naturally, organically, like a seed that is germinating and beginning to sprout. Beautiful. I'm so proud of you, man. Thank you for following through on that. And thank you for your gift and for your time and for the sessions that we've done. And I can't wait for our next one.
Did a little session with Christoph yesterday, actually, and we only got through 8 trapped emotions, but it was amazing. The connection was so strong, and like the feeling that you have inside of your body, I've never even felt that before. Even with meditating, trying to connect with God, and all those different things, like you have these physiological, real, tangible emotions within your body, and you can actually feel them. Like if you even for a second might doubt it or question it, like once you actually experience it, it's crazy. It changes your perspective on the way the world works. And like it's insane. Like if you guys have an opportunity to do it, do it. It's really cool. And I'm like addicted to it now. I'm like asking my dad, like, hey, when is Christoph available next? Like when can we do this again? Because it's a really cool experience. Really cool experience. Really healthy, really cathartic, really healing. And it, it forces you to face things that you might want to face, but might not know how to necessarily. For me, that's what it's done. It's awesome. So thank you, Christoph. Thank you for your beautiful gifts, man. We really appreciate you. And again, I know I said this to you yesterday, but I really appreciate you helping my father heal as well and process all of those emotions.
Imagine if I had done this work when I was 19.
Yeah. Or back then in Costa Rica when I told you about.
Yeah.
No, but I mean in that when I was no, but I mean that's if you're ready. That's the most important. Exactly. And then it doesn't work. If you're not ready, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and fine for me now it's really cool to work with Jay or Milo because they did so much things about energy healing and stuff like that. Instead of my family, I mean, they did it. They said, yeah, okay, let's do it because it was me, you know, but sometimes they were looking at me like, come on, is it Trey? And then when you tell them like, yeah, I just release it, like they're like, oh, come on.
I can see. So beautiful, Christoph. And you can drop whenever I know you've got that hockey game. But
no,
guys,
it's
I would encourage anybody who's interested to do a session or two with Christoph. And if you feel the pull, I said to Milo yesterday, I want to get certified. I want to learn this. Like, I think this as a modality is relatively easy to learn if you're connected. And I can see this in where Wake Up is going as a family, for us to create true exponential growth in people's lives, and for things like the meta story process to work, you got to deal with those trapped emotions. Otherwise, you're writing that meta story 100 times a day, trying to override old programming, when in reality, I sit down and now I get centered and I say a prayer and I write a laser line 30 times. By the time I'm done 30 times, boom, 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 I have my action items. I know what to do. I don't even need to come back here. I know this is going to happen. I have accelerated the timeline of the major projects that I've been pushing off my entire life. I've accelerated it to where I'm taking on multiple projects over the next 12 months that I thought I would get to in 10 years. Why not? I don't feel any restriction now. And it's not like I'm afraid that, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and the old Jay is going to be, it's a permanent shift. It's like a release. It's like, I said this at the end of our session yesterday, it's like literally like taking a cathartic, like metaphorically, like taking a spiritual dump. You know, when you get a big poop, a big bowel movement, it just feels so good. Just, it's gone.
Purge.
That's how it's
the big purge. Big purge.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here, Christoph. I want to book in. put me down. I mean, give me you got a website?
Yeah, that's the problem. I said to Jay, come on, I just 2 weeks ago we start finally. My wife and I, we start to build the website.
I said, you don't need a website. You don't need a website. We'll get there. I'll help you build it. I'll help you build the brand. I'll help you build all that shit. Just open it, send over the calendar link.
Yeah. But we already was looking before for a calendar. So in the weekend I will send I can send the calendar for.
Just
send him a message on WhatsApp. You'll figure it out.
Send me a message. I'd love to book a session with you.
And if that's something, you know what I quickly just want to say, it's I'm really looking forward to do that on people, but I'm already looking forward because I know in the family business, if you are good, you have a lot of work, and if you have a lot of work over like in all the years, always book full, it's crazy. You get tired and exhausted, and for that I really want to make sure, for sure, because it's also, if I do a session or two, yesterday when I did the session with Jay or 2 days ago, I felt tired because I didn't have a good sleep, and then at first I did the session with Milo, and then with Jay afterwards I felt better. So that's amazing. but I want to make sure that I can motivate people to do the certification, because that's, yeah, if I'm perfect and do 10 sessions a day the whole year, imagine if all you guys do it 5 a day, it's so much better for the world, because what we need on the world is, yeah, we have to clear all the trapped emotions what around, yeah, from all the
So-
people.
So
Yeah.
coming full circle to the comment that Scott made, in 2007, I found myself in an existential crisis, an identity crisis. I had made my first $1 million. I had it in the bank, and I could see the number. And I called my dad. I was so proud of myself as an affiliate. I'm a millionaire. And I was looking for validation from my father. My dad said, well, Jason, you know that money is the root of all evil. And I said, okay, Dad, but aren't you proud of me? He's like, I don't use that word. I was a grown man at the time, and this is I was in my 30s, early 30s. I was 30. Yeah, I was a millionaire by 30. I was so heartbroken that I can't even I was craving this validation from my father. And I ended up self-sabotaging, getting into a fight with the company that I was selling for, and they accused me of cheating on a sales contest. It was traumatizing. Actually, that traumatizing event, I still had trapped emotions around it that we cleared on not this previous session, but the one before. But back to the comment that Scott made in 2007, the mission of Carbon Copy Pro was to create 100 millionaires by 2012. So I said 5 years, I want to help 100 people do what I did. And that then gave me the motivation for the next phase in my journey. Well, fast forward now, 20 years later, what we're going to do with the WakeUp Co, God willing, is much more than creating millionaires. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be countless millionaires created, but they'll be created as a byproduct of them healing their personal and generational trauma and being able to fully and deeply embrace God's calling for their life and be able to fulfill and pursue that true purpose for their life. And as a byproduct of that, financial abundance is always there. It is always there. And I truly now feel like I am ready to lead the WakeUp Co from a place of integrity, because I have done the work now myself. And you guys have been part of that journey with me here over the last 6 months. I mean, some of you guys, we go back decade plus, and it's an incredible honor and a privilege. The last thing I'll say about that is that in this last week, we lost a dear, dear friend of ours, John Jackson, JJ. Some of you know him, some of you don't know him. But JJ and I go back to 2004. He was also a top affiliate in that original company where I made my first $1 million. And JJ worked for me in 2 different stints, a total of 12 or 13 years, helping people. He led the community with the daily wake-up call. That's where the wake-up call actually came from. But he was the glue that kept the community together. And we lost JJ this week. The crazy thing is this past summer in July, I reconnected with JJ because I didn't feel good about how things ended with him 4 or 5 years ago. And I called him to just to reconcile, even though it wasn't my fault. I wanted to be on good terms with him. So I called him, and then we actually had a 3-way conversation, introduced him to my son Milo, and shared what we're building with the Clean Co with Milo. And lo and behold, it was 2 weeks after that call that he got that horrible diagnosis that he has pancreatic cancer. Fast forward 6 months later, he's dead. So the impetus that I feel, not the impetus, the urgency not to waste time, because generationally, I mean, JJ was only 15 years older than me. He's not even a generation ahead of me. That generation, I've lost several people in the last year. So my mortality, and on top of that, my own existential crisis, my own identity crisis, just motivated me to do this work so that I can help others wake up to ultimately live the life that they were born to live as well. So today's wake up call here, guys, this is a landmark call in the sense that this is an inflection point. This is the smallest group that will ever be on this call. I'm so excited to see where we go as a company, as a community, as a family, as a brand. How many people we're able to empower, how many people we're able to motivate, how many people we're able to inspire, and how many people we're able to help set themselves free so that they can pierce through these old layers of karma, like layers of an onion, and deal with what has to be dealt with so that they can begin to live in alignment with their deeper calling and their deeper purpose. So I'm so honored and so grateful to be here. And again, thank you one more time, Keo and the rest of you, for keeping the lights on, keeping the seat warm, and keeping this group active while I went through this little dark period that I've just come through. Beautiful. Thank you, Milo, for sharing. Thanks for joining us here as well. Okay, so a couple things here that we're going to cover real quick, and then we're going to wrap in about 10 minutes or so. So, book of the week. Every Sunday, you've noticed I'm sharing a book of the week. So, Brianna West, The Mountain Is You. Incredibly powerful book. I read it last year. I didn't quite make it all the way through. That was last week's book of the week. It's right on topic with this. This message resonates with you. The Mountain Is You is all about embracing and taking full responsibility for the mountain that is in front of you. This week's book of the week is David Dita, The Way of a Superior Man. It's a 20-year-old book. I read it two and a half years ago or so. Steph got it for me. He's the pioneer of the modern day spiritual understandings of masculine and feminine energy. It's written for men, but it's a fantastic read for a woman as well. And in this book, David Dita, A Superior Man, in chapter 12, he talks about your purpose. And your purpose, or he calls it your karma as well, whatever it is that you're faced with, your biggest obstacle and challenge that you're faced with right now. Just like Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning, and God bless his soul, John Jackson, he gave me that book 15 years ago. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. I was reading this morning as well about in Viktor Frankl, how he found purpose in his stint in the concentration camps. He was an educated doctor. He had written a book, and they took his manuscript from him and put him in Auschwitz. And he had to rewrite that book. But in the depths of hell, having the purpose to write that book and to survive, having that sense of purpose is why he survived typhus in Auschwitz. It's the only, everybody around him died of typhus except him. The power of having a purpose is literally life-saving. And then, so on that note, this week's book of the week, and I'll announce it Sunday in the group, will be Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. So for those of you that are interested in being part of the book of the week, that will be almost like a separate group or a separate subset within the community where we have a book of the week that we either agree on collectively or something that is nominated that we all study together. So next item here is, you've probably noticed I've been sharing on social media my 10 for 10 challenge. So 10 for 10 is a challenge that we used to have back in the affiliate marketing days. So I've kind of brought it forward for the naming convention, forward for some sentimental reasons, but basically here's what 10 for 10 is. Eventually this will be a formal challenge that anybody can participate in, kind of like 75 hard. And the way it works is this: you pick 10 things that you're committed to doing on a daily basis for 100 days. So 10 for 10 means that you're committing to doing 10 for 10. You do 10 out of 10 every day for 100 days. So I'm currently on day 11 of my 10 for 10. If you follow me on social media, you can see what I'm currently doing. Running every day, reading 10 pages, 100 push-ups. I've actually switched it to 100 push-ups and 100 squats. And then yesterday I upgraded it to 100 burpees, which is infinitely more difficult than doing the squats. So 100 burpees now is where I'm at. 20 minutes of prayer / meditation, 20 minutes of breath work, cold shower, 20 minutes of writing. Random act of kindness has been so transformational. The reason that is in there is, again, in honor of JJ. JJ used to end every one of his calls. He used to always say, do something today for someone, and then knowing that there's no possible way they can repay you. And it's interesting, in my journaling this morning, I do the 5-minute journal, and it's asked, like, what are the highlights from yesterday? And I find myself in my journal, the highlights from the previous day tend to be the random act of kindness. That kind of has become like the highlight of my day, and it's just happening naturally. It's changed who I am as a person. It's changed who I am as a person. It's 10 times more powerful than any gratitude practice I've ever done. No cigarettes or alcohol. That might be easy for some of you. Very difficult for me. And then to post on. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Post on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just push my edge as a content creator to get good at creating valuable content that touches, moves, and inspires people. For those, which includes the 90-day video journey. So that's why I'm doing the 90-day video journey in conjunction with this as well. So if there are any of you that are interested in doing your own 10 for 10 challenge, eventually as part of the WakeUp app, it'll be built into the WakeUp app where it'll generate the graphic for you. You put your own picture in the background, or you can put my picture back there if you want. You'll pick whatever 10 things. And it could be 10 things that you're already doing. But the whole purpose of this challenge is to build your trust in yourself and to build integrity with your own word. So it's more than just integrity with your word. What I've found is this has changed who I am as a person. So it's one thing to, so it's one thing to do what you say and say what you do. But true integrity is to follow through on your word when nobody is watching. But accountability is even a step further than that. True accountability, or radical personal responsibility, is being accountable to what we say to ourselves in our mind. So for example, when I step out the front door on my morning run, I commit to what route I'm going to take. And then the question is, am I going to follow through on that, even if I don't feel like it? And yesterday was a great example. I posted this on Instagram. I start going and I feel like my legs are concrete. And I also upped it from 2K a day to 3K, and I average 4 to 5K most days. But will I cut it short, or will I follow through on the route that I, in my mind, committed to? So all of this is an exercise in, and I'll speak for myself, an exercise in me building a level of belief and trust and confidence in myself that when I think something, it comes true. When I say something, I follow through. That I am my own most reliable friend. Because the old Jay, if the old Jay was my friend, there's no way I would be friends with the old Jay. He says he's going to show up, he shows up late. He says he's going to do something, he doesn't do it. He changes his mind last minute. He says he's going for a run and then ends up doing the dishes or cooking instead and doesn't do it. He says he's going to take a cold shower and then he chickens out and doesn't put it on cold. Like the old Jay was so unreliable to Jay, I would not want to be friends with the old Jay. So this is about becoming a person that you yourself, you treat yourself like your own best friend. And it's something that's between you, yourself, and God. And nothing can replace you becoming a reliable friend in your own eyes to yourself. That is all this is for. This isn't about getting fit. This isn't about getting buff. This isn't about showing off, but there has to be an accountability piece where you share it every single day. You put it out there to the world. Because if you don't put it out there, then, well, why wouldn't you put it out there? Why would you be so selfish to keep it to yourself? Because you know what? There might be some other person that is struggling with the same reliability or lack of integrity like I did, or like you might be right now, that could be inspired by that. So by you not giving and sharing this, you're being selfish. That's what I say to myself. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm not asking anybody to do it. Watch me. If you feel inspired to join, to do it, DM me. We're going to start a separate WhatsApp group as an accountability group for the 10 for 10 challenge. That will eventually be a separate subset of the Wake Up community. For now, we'll just manage it in WhatsApp. So if you feel ready or up for that challenge, DM me and I'll add you to that group. Monica will be in that group as well. And for those of you that weren't here when we started, Monica has put her hand in the air to just kind of help facilitate some of the administrative parts of running the Wake Up Run. Okay, so there's the 10 for 10 update. Looking for volunteers there. Also, if to sweeten the pot, if you're willing to commit to a 10 for 10 challenge, I will personally offer you one free coaching session per month. Okay, and also you will then be front line of in terms of the case study. And I had the case study application from a few months ago. So we're going to be picking that up again as well. I'm only going to be picking people for case studies who are coming through the 10 for 10 challenge, because we're going to use that 100 days as the beginning and the end of the case study. So if you're interested in that, actually DM me, or actually better yet, DM Monica, and we will add you to the group. And to close today, I referenced Man's Search for Meaning. I referenced David Dita, The Way of a Superior Man. And I'll just say this. Your purpose is to become the person you needed most in your darkest day. And if you're currently in your darkest day, then even more so, it is your obligation. It is your purpose. You don't have any other purpose in life. Your purpose, your karma, to clear your karma, is you have to pierce through the current challenges that you're facing. And by doing so, by facing that mountain, which is you, and embracing that and taking responsibility for it, you will be one step further to the next phase or layer of the onion towards truly living your purpose, which is to heal. By healing, you will become the person for yourself that you needed most in your darkest days. I am in the process of becoming the person I needed most in my darkest days over the last 18 months. And by doing so, I am then able to touch, move, and inspire, motivate, and empower other people. That's the way it works. Number 3, along the way, you will be called and asked and required to gain new skills. And you will know what those skills are, whether it's the skill of reading the emotion code or body code like Christoph, whether it's a marketing skill, whether it's a communication skill, it doesn't matter. But the skills that are required for you then to take your gift and help impart that on others, those skills will then become obvious and apparent to you. The stage after that, the phase after that, where you then can begin to monetize and make money from your passion, your purpose, that will happen in due time and in sequential order. Okay? And that's where the Ikigai Venn diagram comes in. Your skills overlapped with what the world needs, overlapped with what you love, overlapped with what you're able to get paid for. And ultimately, the Wake Up family, we want to birth the next generation of entrepreneurs, truly enlightened, connected, spiritual entrepreneurs who are light workers on this planet, who are moving society forward selflessly, humbly serving God while making a tremendous impact, and at the same time being rewarded fairly and compensated fairly for it. Money will always be there. Money will always be the byproduct, but money will never be the number one thing you focus on, because money is not your purpose. Money is a byproduct of you living a life of purpose. So guys, thank you so much for being here. What a wonderful gift it is to have you guys as a group, as a support network. I love you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I look forward to seeing you guys same place, same time next week. Love you all. Cheers. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Thank
Ciao.
you. See you next week.
Ciao.
Thanks again, guys. Have a great week.
You too, James.
James.
Now I can't find how to shut down. Oh, must be down there. All right. I found it. See ya.
Have a good one.